What's cooking, everybody? Welcome to Rail's Food for Thought podcast, where we talk about business, hustle, and flavor all on the same thing. And today we have a special guest for you guys, the owner, Eugene's Hot Chicken, Zebbie Carney.
What's cooking?
Oh, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. Yes, sir.
So now tell me, man, tell the folks about your business and what you do.
Oh, man. Owner of Eugene's Hot Chicken. We're a southern restaurant that serves hot chicken. We've been in business 10 years. We got 3 locations and 3 food trucks, all in Alabama. We in Uptown District in Birmingham. Right next to my homies over at K&J. We are in the Hoover near the Galleria. And we just opened Montgomery right downtown on Commerce Street, man. We in the Gump, man. We just opened.
Starting in Birmingham.
Right.
What made you want to do chicken in a city that's full of chicken places?
Right. So, man, I had 8 concepts that I wanted to do. I had to pick the concept that I could do with not a lot of money and not a lot of help. And I noticed, even though there's a lot of chicken places, I noticed it was a void in quality food. Not to knock anybody, what anybody else was doing, but, we make everything from scratch, scratch restaurant. And I just felt like, man, it was a different level. For one reason, it wasn't hot chicken. There was no hot chicken here. And I'm from the home of hot chicken.
Nashville, right?
Nashville, man, born and raised. And hot chicken was like, popping up on menus all across the country, man. Even like fine dining restaurants, like you had hot chicken biscuits and all kind of stuff, man. So I was just trying to add value to Birmingham.
So let me ask you, what got you to this point of right now? As far as what was that first process?
Ooh, it took me 26 years to get here. Man, it took me a long time to get here, man. I got to think about, I'm from Nashville, graduated Tennessee State University. Man, at 21 years old, man, I was a landlord. 24 years old, man, I had 2 duplexes. I actually sold those duplexes and, bought us a house and bought a food truck. So, man, it took so much for us to get here, man. Man, we can go all night on what it took me to get here.
What's one of the hardest parts about being an entrepreneur?
I think one of the hardest parts about being an entrepreneur is, man, it's a gift and a curse. The hardest part is the people. The best part is the people.
Mm-hmm.
I think to be good at entrepreneurship, you gotta get people rowing in the same boat, the same way.
So, one back, one sound.
One band, one sound, man. Yeah.
Now, as far as business, man, you always talk about that business plan, man. Tell people about that story of making a business plan.
Yeah. So how we started off. I was executive chef working at a restaurant. I started off, cooking chicken in pots at Trim Tab, man, on South Side. I was executive chef in the daytime and I was selling hot chicken at night. And then, when we started doing the pop-ups, I had to figure out, what was the next plan? Where am I going from here, from pop-ups, how people, go get it. So we created a business plan for a restaurant. And it's about a 50-page business plan I created in Hoover Library. 50 pages, man. It took months to create. Between creating the spices and trying to get the spices right and creating a business plan, it took about 8 months. And then, once we got the business plan, it was for a restaurant. But restaurants were so expensive, man. I had to rethink that. I remember taking a co-starters class, and it told me to, think small. And I can remember like yesterday, man. I was gonna go looking at a building in 5 Points, and a guy called me in Mobile about a food truck. Instead of me going to look at that building, I went all the way to Mobile and picked up a food truck. So I had to change my business plan to create a food truck. I had never worked a food truck, and I've worked in some of the hardest restaurants, man. 3 food trucks. We operate 3 food trucks and 3 restaurants.
That's all right. So let me ask you, man. I know that y'all was open during the pandemic and COVID.
Yep.
Tell me, how did the pandemic affect your business?
The pandemic hugely affected our business, man. It was a challenge for us. It was a challenge for our team. We had to get real strategic on what we did. We was open at an Uptown location, but they was, it was building a stadium and taking down the interstate at the same time. So we had to get strategic here. We actually opened a restaurant during COVID. We opened our Hoover location during COVID because, you know, the restrictions are a little less out there compared to downtown Birmingham. But instead of going to like businesses, we had to get strategic and start going to hospitals and neighborhoods. And we did a lot of catering to hospitals. You know, kind of unfortunate. We just had to go where the people were. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, man. I know from the time you started as far as like the restaurant business and where you are now, about inflation.
Oh man, you know, I think, you know, inflation's been up and down like a seesaw. You know, during business, man, you always gonna see prices rise, prices fall. You will never see them where they were when you started. And you know, it's an adjustment. Like, you know, we've had to take our prices up to, as crazy as this sound, man. You know, when I worked in some of them fine dining, I wouldn't say fine dining restaurants, but I worked in some other restaurants. We used to do market price on like fish, market price on, you know, seafood, because you never knew what the price of it was gonna be.
Yes, sir.
I never thought I would have to do market price on a chicken tenders, and you know, but you know, during pandemic, man, it got to the price though I ain't know what the price was gonna be. So we had to adjust, and we had to adjust quick, because as a small business, if you don't adjust quick, you'll go out of business. So, you know, we adjust when we got to, but when prices come back down, we try to adjust them prices back down. So, you know, you really got to watch your numbers in business. You know, you just got to be on top of it.
One of my favorite things that you always say, man, watch the fan watch.
Yeah, man. Watch them pennies, them dollars, and watch the sales, man. And I always use $1 million spoon in a restaurant. People don't know what $1 million spoon is, a plastic spatula. And that saying goes to say, you know, with a P&L, it's never the big things that are gonna get you. You know, you got rent, you know, you got, you know, labor. But what eats you alive, man, is like, you know, them little pennies in food costs. People taking this, people, you know, doing this, people wasting this. So you gotta be all hands on deck, man, to watch that money.
You live in a world, and we have a lot of good cooks, not a lot of good business people.
Right.
Tell me that, and it's people who want to do that, and who want to basically have a business. Give me 3 steps for those people to basically become a small business kind.
Right. I think, you know, business is 10% talent, 90% business. I think, you know, business is, you know, 10% talent, 90% business. So you can have the best idea in the world. You know, you can make the best drink or whatever, but if you can't understand what it cost you and what you're making off of it, you ain't gonna make no money. That's one. And then I think a 2 would be, you got to do the boring shit. A lot of the boring shit, and people just don't want to do that boring shit, man. To create a foundation for your business, you gotta, you know, watch trends, study food costs, study labor costs, study that P&L up and down the line. And then, you know, another thing in business, I think, would be, you got to understand what business you're in. You know, even people in the food business, you're really in the food business, you're in the people business.
Right.
So, you know, you just got to understand what business that you're in.
Go back to saying about people business, man. Like, that brings up a very solid subject I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Important customer service.
Oh, man, it's everything, man. You know, I think it's a 3-headed monster to create a good restaurant. One being customer service, one being quality of food, and one being, you know, just a cool and inviting brand. And that customer service piece, man, is huge, man. I mean, because, you know, even some of the top restaurants, people will say the food ain't that good, but the customer service is amazing, so I'm gonna keep going back. Right? So you customer service is, it got to mirror the food. You know, people are, you know, if you got good customer service, people will come back for mediocre food. But if you got great food and mediocre customer service, people ain't coming back. They're gonna be like, nah, man, the food's okay, man, but I'm coming back. So it either got a mirror or to match it.
Right, because you know, man, we live in a world where people that big restaurant mess up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. First time small business mess up, it's blown up. It's everywhere.
Yeah, we live in an age, man, where, you know, people forgive and forget some of them big restaurants, but for some of the smaller restaurants, they not so forgiving. And so you know, to swim with the sharks, you got to think like a shark. So our customer service in small restaurants got to mirror that of large restaurants if we really trying to get there. Right? People don't care about you a small business, man. Can you deliver? That's really what they care about.
Right. So we have different seasons of the restaurant where we have certain months where things made
All right.
charts. Then there's some seasons where it ain't so busy and it's kind of slower. How do you prepare for it?
Yeah, so you want to break a restaurant down into 4 quarters, right? A quarter being 3 months. So it's 4 quarters in a whole year. I think you have to prepare yourself for the fourth quarter and the third quarter, right? And first quarter and the fourth quarter. So what I mean by that is like we always slow January, February, and March. People, they don't want to eat fried chicken, they don't want to drink, they don't want to do all them things. So we start selling gift cards in the fourth quarter to prepare ourselves for the first quarter. So you always want to be thinking about that. You will be 3 months ahead in business. It kind of, sustain and maintain.
Right. Now let me well I'm gonna go ahead and do this for you, man. So kind of avoid those slow seasons. For the person who doesn't know Eugene's Hot Chicken and what they do, sell your book.
Okay, Eugene's Hot Chicken, man. We're a Southern restaurant. We serve the best Southern hot chicken. We got 3 restaurants. We got 3 food trucks. We can cater any event from 10 people to 2,000 people. We located in Birmingham, Alabama, Montgomery, and Hoover. But we take out the food trucks everywhere.
So and the last segment for this show, man, it's a short little game that I like. And it's called this or that. So
Okay.
this is where I say 2 different words.
Okay.
To be this or that.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Time or money?
Time.
Love or respect?
Respect.
Success, happiness.
Happiness.
Sweet or flavor?
Savor.
Loyalty or
Honesty.
legacy or luxury?
Legacy.
Text or call?
Text.
Flat, strong.
Flats all day.
See you flat, don't flat, right? All right, boss man. So for the people out there who don't know how to find you or where to find you, man, tell them where you are and tell them your social media.
Yeah, 3 locations, Eugene's Hot Chicken. We just opened our newest location in Montgomery, down in the Gump, 79 Commerce Street, right downtown. We got a Hoover location open in the Galleria, 3232 Galleria Circle. And, our flagship store in Uptown, 2268 9th Avenue North, right downtown. In the Uptown District, Eugene's Hot Chicken is how you find us. And our food trucks everywhere.
All right, boss. I appreciate your time today, man. The first episode of Rails Food for Talk podcast is in the books. Thank you guys for watching today. Don't forget to please like and subscribe. Thank you.